Well, hello everyone, and thank you for joining us for another Johnson Consulting Conversations, Insider Perspectives and Stories with Lacey Robinson. As a friendly reminder, please type questions into the Q&A area during the session. We have allotted time at the end of the session to answer all those questions. So once again, we are utilizing the Q&A area for those questions, and we will answer those at the end of the session. And with that, Lacey, take it away.
Thank you, Maddie. Welcome everyone to Johnson Consulting Conversations. I'm delighted all of you have joined us for what I promise to be a very insightful discussion about the intersection of funeral service and technology. Today we have the privilege of speaking with Bob Arrington, a distinguished figure in our profession who wears two important hats as the founder of Arrington Funeral Directors, established in 1995, and as the president and founder of ObituaryShare. Bob brings a unique perspective as both a funeral service provider and a technology innovator. His experience in bridging these two worlds makes him particularly well suited to discuss the evolution of our profession in the digital age. Welcome, Bob.
Thank you, Lacey. Thank you. I look forward to be here. Again, I apologize for my voice. It's a little raspy and froggy, but it should be fine if you don't get too close. I won't be contagious or anything, but I'm looking forward to the conversation and to find out what a lot of folks may be interested in and how a little bit of technology can help funeral service provide better services for families.
Well, Bob, thank you again for joining us today. And I want to start with a broad view of funeral service evolution. You've been in funeral service since the 1970s. How has the digital transformation in funeral service changed the way you operate Arrington Funeral Directors over the past 5-10 years?
Well, it's given Arrington Funeral Directors an opportunity to provide better customer service and be more efficient in the services that we're given by offering technology such as ObituaryShare, for example. We give families a cost-efficient way to promote the obit and pay tribute to their loved one, and by targeting the obituary to family and friends and certain groups, and for a mass distribution through social media. Our website is very, very critical to us. Years ago, I wasn't real sure, but as I've gotten into it and listened to families and listened to what's going on in reality and in my own life, how I use websites, we look at our website as our second location. We want people to either walking in our door or clicking in our door. And the digital and social transformation has basically allowed us to tell our story basically worldwide. So for example, if a family shares an obituary on ObituaryShare, we're taking that reader back to our website, which is back to one of our locations, to where they can see what we do, buy flowers, explore pre-need activities or opportunities, and see what we actually do. And we think it's worth noting how important this information is. With the demise of the local newspaper, in particular, is left a void in the marketplace. I mean, local newspapers provided especially death notices and obituaries. That's basically gone. ObituaryShare fills that gap for us at Arrington Funeral Directors. And, one of our partners in developing ObituaryShare spent almost 40 years with the Gannett newspaper. So he will tell you that obituaries was one of the top one or two items as to why people subscribe to the newspaper. Well, now that's gone. And in many ways, the growth of our website traffic just shows how important that local information is. And so local people are coming to our website to get their local information that they used to get from newspapers. And so our website becomes our face to thousands of viewers who visit our website every month. And we're having in excess every single month of 60,000 visitors a month to our website. So, and the opportunity to reach that many people it's only in the digital space. You cannot reach 60,000 plus people a month any other way than in that digital space.
I appreciate you making the statement that technology allows you to provide better, more enhanced customer service to families and the community. And I want to talk about your venture into technology development with ObituaryShare, which, as you said, is the strategic promotion of obituaries. And you touched upon the rising cost of publishing an obituary in the newspaper. It prevents families and funeral directors from publishing a lengthy one. And oftentimes the alternative is publishing a much shorter one in the newspaper and a longer one on the funeral home's website. It's an alternative, but it's not the best solution because we know that newspapers aren't published every single day. And I know that you can certainly relate to the challenges of that, and particularly the cost. Are there any other specific challenges or gaps in the obituary publishing market, particularly that your partner from Gannett has shared with you that led you to develop ObituaryShare?
Well, again, you're right. The cost of a traditional newspaper is probably what sent the first flag up because it made it using the newspaper was just almost unattainable for most families. So they ended up, if a family did put something in a newspaper, it was like a death notice. It was something very short. They couldn't put in a full obituary. And then just the pure fact of the traditional newspaper going down, for instance, in my town, the local paper, the Jackson Sun, we used to publish 50,000 papers. And now it may be 2,500 and it's 3-day-old news. So, I mean, what they promote, you get today was yesterday's news today. So you had the cost and the reach, the efficiency of it. You know, if you wanted it in the newspaper tomorrow, you had to have a deadline at 10 o'clock this morning. So even when it does come out, if you can afford it, you know, the funeral may be in 3 hours. So the timeliness of it, because so many people in today's world, they want to know right now. Give me the answer right now. Well, you know, if you want it in a Sunday paper, you had to put it in the paper on Friday. So it's just the cost, the timeliness of it, the reach, the message wasn't getting out till late. And as I mentioned, our Facebook and websites kind of fill in all those gaps because we can meet with a family now and within 30 minutes to an hour have information up and posted and people are beginning to be able to know about it versus wait until tomorrow, or if you've missed the deadline, it's going to be 2 days from now. So it's putting the obit where the eyeballs are is what it's doing. And it's plus promoting to even eyes that are not even looking for it. So by us being able to use social media and technology to target groups and put it in front of people that would have an interest in the death is beyond able to do ever in the newspaper world. So we're able to give families much, much better service, much more sharing of their loved ones' obit at a much, much, much less cost.
It's interesting to hear about those market gaps and specifically what was happening in Jackson, Tennessee with the newspapers. Those numbers are fascinating. And like you said, the timing is everything because people want that information right now. I am curious about the development process. You and I have had the opportunity to travel the country for many years, sitting down with funeral directors, funeral home owners, and managers, listening to their challenges, their concerns. What sort of feedback were you hearing from them that helped you shape ObituaryShare's features?
Well, this concept kind of came to mind about 6+ years ago. And Roy had called and just said, "Hey, what are you doing with your obits now that the newspapers are beginning to dwindle?" By that time, Gannett had moved him to Wichita. So we started talking, and then we spent 2 to 3 years traveling to national meetings, national conventions, doing nothing but listening. We weren't trying to propose, or we were just listening to find out that funeral directors, they needed an option for newspapers. Everybody nationwide, they all were ticking down, some markets ticking down quicker than others. But they didn't know really what that alternative or option might be, much less how to do it. So our company was formed through the collaboration really of a funeral director, a newspaper veteran, a school teacher, and a social media guy. And, each of them, we all brought different ideas and perspective to the table. And for example, me, the funeral director, I knew firsthand the frustration that the funeral director and the families and kind of what their pain points were on kind of run aground on getting obits out. Roy being the newspaper guy, he knew what the decline of his industry was having on obituaries and families and the lack of timely information going out. So he understood that piece. And then the other two brought real life experience and some social media activities. So we started trying to marry all this up and spend those 2 or 3 years listening to funeral directors, out across the country. And my newspaper partner would always say, content is king. Well, there's no better content in our world than obituaries. So, ObituaryShare, remember, was designed with one purpose in mind. That's to help families get obituaries out into the viewership. And content is king. The content was obituaries. So in our market, people have kind of trained themselves to look at our website pages for information and the latest obituaries. So we're able to fill a little bit of that gap over the last 2 or 3 years of the obituary gap in the newspaper. We also heard out in the field, excuse me, well, we don't want any extra work. We don't want any added work. Well, believe me, I understand that piece, and I understand how busy funeral directors are and how much they do. So being a funeral director, I told the group from the very beginning that this had to be easy, 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 and quick. So we copied the portal of posting a newspaper obit. That way the funeral director is looking at the same, they're not having to learn anything. It's the same portal. And we've even been able over time to even trim that down to where it's about a third of what a newspaper portal used to be. And funeral homes are already putting their obits on Facebook and website. So all we're doing is taking what they're doing and enhancing it. We're not adding any obituaries. We're not adding anything. We're taking what they're doing and pushing it and enhancing what they're already doing.
This is probably the fifth time that you and I have talked about ObituaryShare. I've had previous opportunities through Johnson Consulting and with Worsham College, and I always enjoy hearing about the collaborative approach between you and Roy. I hope to meet Roy one day. Valuable insights that he's been able to share with you and bringing that together. I want to dig a little bit deeper into that development, and there's various obituary platforms on the market. What specific features of ObituaryShare have been designed to address the pain points? And a couple of them that you just mentioned was time and organization. And tell us about how those features specifically target those pain points for funeral directors.
Exactly right. We had the whole list of what we wanted to try to take from the newspaper experience and correct it. And the newspaper experience at one time was a really good experience back in the day when that's just what was done, 15 or so years ago. It was a really seamless, good experience, but that all went south. The cost went crazy. The effectiveness went crazy. The timeliness did. So, that's kind of where we came from. And there's no other obituary platform out there that does what ObituaryShare does. You can post obituaries on your Facebook page, but it's kind of like what you posted, what you had for dessert last night. It's not going anywhere. You may post it, but nobody's seen it. So beyond the traditional media, the funeral director must rely on social media to get the obituaries out for their families. And funeral directors are good at what they do. They don't have to be social media experts or marketing experts to use our product. Not at all. We do all that. We're going to bring a whole team of social media and digital marketing professionals to the table. And you can assure your family that they're going to get a very good customer experience from the funeral home about obituaries, because we're going to make sure you, the funeral director, get a good customer experience from us. And everything comes from the funeral home Facebook page or website. The family doesn't even know ObituaryShare exists. We just happen to be the workhorse behind the funeral home that does the work. You just simply post it on our site. You copy the URL off of your website. You put the obit on your website, and then you put it on the ObituaryShare portal. We do the rest of the work. We'll take it. It's not AI. We have 40 people down in Alexandria, Louisiana, reading each obit and determining which group and which target audience gets that person's obit. The best real life example I can give, and Lacey's heard this story before, but it's what funeral directors can understand. A couple of years ago, we had a gentleman named Jimmy Cruz. He was past president of the Tennessee Tire Dealers, is very active in the Boy Scouts. His wife was a 30-year realtor here in West Tennessee, and his daughter-in-law was on the board of the Tennessee Bankers Association. So that obit was posted to ObituaryShare, and our team took it. And obviously in the obit, it said past president Tennessee Tire Dealers and active in the Boy Scouts. So that was an obvious targeted group. But also on that portal, it says additional target audience. That's where me, the funeral director, put West Tennessee Realtors because of his wife, and the Tennessee Bankers Association because of his daughter, because those two things were not in his obit. So that obit was promoted, put retail money behind it from Arrington Funeral Director's Facebook page to the tire dealers, the Boy Scouts, the realtors, and the Tennessee Bankers. And 16,000 people read his obit off of the Arrington Funeral Director's website, because it went to the audience that would be interested in the death. So that's how this whole platform works, is we don't wait for people to come find the obit. We targeted it out. We promote it for 3 days. There's no contracts with this. It's strictly a per obit charge. So, my suggestion is you give it a try for 2 or 3 months. If it works, great. If it doesn't, just stop using it. There's no fees to sign up. There's no setup charge. So, but the whole concept that had never been done is 80% of the people that go to a funeral home website are looking for an obit. Now, that's just the way it is. So what we've done is we've somewhat reversed the role. We take the obit and send it to the people that would want to come looking for it. And we put retail money behind it. So, that's why people say, well, we post ours on Facebook. But if you got 1,000 followers, you may post it, but only 60 to 100 people are going to see it. Why? Because Facebook's wants you to pay for it. So that's what we're doing. We're taking that obituary and putting it out there. So that's why I say there's no platform that does for obituaries and funeral home websites what ObituaryShare does. Now, if you want website traffic, ObituaryShare will help you. If you don't, then you don't need any help. But again, I'm one of those that believes in what is happening with website traffic.
Well, I like that you said it's simple to sign up, it's easy to use, and
Right.
you don't need to be a social media expert. And I know that you are driving that Facebook bus and using that platform to drive the attendance and get the word out of the loved ones' service details. What unexpected lessons have you learned from funeral homes using ObituaryShare that have influenced the development?
Unexpected piece was the marketing style.
Mm.
We developed it all those years as I was trying to just help my families get their obits out in front of more people, in front of more people. Well, we did not, we way underestimated the power of this product to drive traffic to the website, which has increased flower sales out the roof, pre-need sales. Uh, we started kind of posting things a little differently back at the end of 2022 and going into the middle of 2023. And so what we didn't understand is the effect it's going to have on marketing in the funeral home. In 2023 versus 2024, our flower sales went up 74%. Our flower went from 33,000 to 58,000 now. And our pre-need volume went up 50%. And the average pre-need policy went up $1,600. Now, I'm not saying all of that's ObituaryShare, but I'm saying it's a big piece of it. Because what we're finding and we think, and we're kind of dissecting it as we go, the pre-need piece, we're getting much better qualified leads coming from the website. And we think a lot of that is because people are now coming to the website in a totally different mindset from reading an obituary than just searching the website. So it all works together. We know how marketing works, and we just feel that we're getting a whole lot better audience, and the fact that it's a numbers game. If we're putting it out there to 60,000 people a month, yeah, that's why our flower sales have increased and our pre-need requests have increased, because it's a numbers game. So it's working, and we underestimated the power of the traffic.
I want to hear more on those metrics. It's so interesting, the traffic that is increased to your website. Are you seeing longer viewing times on your website, more interaction compared to what was taking place before ObituaryShare?
Yes, we are. And as we've been working with website providers and getting some input and resources, the average time that was spent on a website, especially around an obituary, was 42 seconds. Well, what we're clicking month after month after month, and our average last year is a minute and a half. So we knew at that point that people were going somewhere else. They weren't just reading the obit and jumping off. So we looked at that, and we're averaging 1.6 page a visit, 1.6 pages per visit. So that's an average. So that tells us some people are looking at one page and some are looking at 2 or 3 pages. So yes, we are seeing more of that. And also over the last couple of years, we're seeing more services with cremation. A lot of that is we're doing a better job, but also a lot of that people are coming to us saying, Daddy want to be cremated, but we want to have a memorial service. So they're already saying that even before we've had a chance to meet with them. We also think that 66,000 people a month seeing services and honoring lives and all that through our website and the obituary is also playing a role in that. So you can't just fish one hole, as we know, but we have seen a dramatic increase in a lot of things over the last 2 or 3 years because we've been consistently using ObituaryShare by pushing that obit out to as many eyeballs as we can.
Well, Bob, you've got me jumping and all excited like a kitty cat on a front porch full of rocking chairs.
Well, it's good.
I
It's
wish I had as
exciting.
many sayings as you have.
Yeah,
Um,
I
so
understand.
you know that I'm all into demographics and generational trends. What have you seen with the engagement as far as demographics and generational trends with online obituaries and memorial content?
Well, that's really another thing that kind of we hoped for, but really wasn't sure what it was till we started doing this over a period of a couple of years. But, here's what we know is, 70% of all funerals are arranged by females over the age of 55. That's just the way it has been, and I feel like that's the way it'll always be. As we've been tracking our website audience, and what we do is every month we send a report to each funeral home that's using ObituaryShare that shows them the traffic, shows them the new users, shows them the demographics, the devices they were on, which helps them see who their audience is, which helps them do other marketing in their area. But with 70% of the funerals arranged by females 55 and over, our website audience is 68% female, 60% are above the age of 55. So the target of what ObituaryShare is reaching is an absolute perfect fit for funeral homes that want that website traffic, want to get it in the pre-need space, and also are those that would be buying flowers for a funeral. So it's hit that target pretty much perfect.
In thinking about those numbers and metrics, what are your predictions in the next decades in regards to technology and particularly where ObituaryShare fits in?
Well, personally, we will evolve with the changing markets, and we know there will be. We can rewind the tape 5 or 6 years ago, and it's a different market now than it was then. And we're going to keep watching the market wherever that leads. There's always going to be a need for an obituary. Some are going to be longer than others, but the fact is that's news, that's content. People are going to want to know about an obituary somehow, some way. And so ObituaryShare, it has and is continuously looking at all of those platforms. And as I said, we'll be using whatever platform is suitable to get obituaries out into the marketplace and into communities and into people that want to know about the death. And it's like we said earlier, I do know one thing. Facebook is the bus. Right now, that's the bus. That gets the most eyeballs. That's the biggest social media platform. And so, it's a perfect target for flower sales, pre-need sales. And so, in 5 or 10 years from now, it may not be. But the fact is, right now it is. And I say use it to the max to drive that traffic to your website.
Can you share more information, more insights on the e-commerce aspect as well as pre-need leads that you've been able to see opportunities with because of ObituaryShare?
Yeah, one thing that we've seen, our average revenue per call has risen each year for 3 years. Now, I think there's a lot of different of that. One, the marketing side of ObituaryShare, it has raised the branding tremendously. We'll have families come in the door and say, now, Bob, you're going to do for Daddy what you did for Uncle Freddie because we want it in social media. So we know our Facebook followers have gone up 10 or 15 times, website traffic. And as we know, the more people see the top of mind awareness, we know how important that is in anything. So, and again, our pre-need leads are a whole lot more quality. They've increased. The quality of them's good. And like I say, and I feel that's because they're coming from a different mindset. And in the past 5 years, using ObituaryShare, our market share has grown 8%. Now, I'm not saying all of that is ObituaryShare, but I know it's helped a lot. And because we've been using it consistently, I started using it when we first developed it just to be the test dummy. And so we've been consistently using it, which has grown our organic audience as it does in any other thing. So that has done a tremendous job for us. And we added a memorial package. Excuse me. When we first started doing ObituaryShare and offering it to families, they were still beginning to use the newspaper some. So we offered it as somewhat of a standalone for $169. Well, it wasn't being understood. They didn't really understand it. I'm not saying our group did a great job presenting it. So again, we were learning as we were doing, but the folks that took it, we had great results with it. So what we did is we put it inside of a memorial package, which includes register book, thank you cards, memorial cards, website posting, Facebook posting, video tributes, temporary grave markers, stuff, a lot of stuff we were kind of just giving away anyway. So we put this list of things together and we got about $275 to $300 cost in it. And $139 of that is ObituaryShare. And we sell it for $500. So 80% of our families were taking it. Yes, that's what we want. Mom, we want this. We want it on social media. So the only ones that weren't taking it were those that did not want an obituary, going to do something later, which is fine. So over a period of about 6 or 8 months, as everybody took it, we just created an Arrington signature service that it's just all included in it anyway. So we've learned by doing that, trying to do it standalone was somewhat of a challenge, mainly, I think, because families didn't understand, why are you charging me $169 to put the obit on Facebook? Well, it's not just that, as we all know, but we weren't doing a very good job trying to explain it. But once we explained it, they took it. So every funeral home would have to figure out their way of charging for it. It's still a whole lot less than a $600 or $700 newspaper obit that's going to be put in the paper one day. So this is one of those win-wins. It's great for the funeral home. It's great for the family. And it's not costing the funeral home anything. Actually, if designed right, it can be a revenue stream, which is the way we've done it. And families are coming in asking for it to make sure we're going to do it on social media. So everybody kind of has to do it what works well for them. But that's how we've kind of used it to serve families and help the bottom line too.
I like that you have made it part of your signature service at Arrington Funeral Directors. I think the revenue opportunities are very interesting. Now, a common concern in our profession is that, many funeral homes do struggle with digital adoption. They are fearful that they're going to have to become a social media expert, which is not what they were intending to do with their professional career. What advice would you give funeral directors who are hesitant about embracing new technologies?
My biggest advice would be is trust the professionals to help. I mean, their lack of understanding shouldn't stop them from trusting us and using us to do what we do. I mean, do they know how to build a website? No, but they know they need it and they use it. Do they know how to work a computer or their heating and air unit? No, but they know they need it and they use it. Did they know how a newspaper was printed? No, but they used it and they read it. So my point is, let the digital professionals do the work. You don't have to understand all the mechanics and how it works. Just trust the digital marketing professionals to do their work.
That's valuable advice, Bob, for those that are looking to be more modernized. And I want to address the balance of being traditional, maintaining that tradition, and being innovative. How do you balance maintaining traditional funeral service values while innovating for modern families that you're meeting with?
Yeah, Arrington Funeral Directors' values are the same regardless. Embracing change doesn't change who Arrington is. You know, technology services like ObituaryShare, it enhances our value to families. And we're operating in the real world on behalf and not in the past. You know, we're doing for families what funeral home down the street's not doing. You know, we're meeting and serving people where they are in 2025 with the tools and resources that are in 2025 and not trying to do it like we served families 10 or 15 years ago, trying to do it in a printed newspaper.
And it's all about if a funeral home wants to survive or thrive and taking that next step to modernize and meet the needs of today's modern families, which you certainly have done. We have a few funeral service students who have joined with us today. I'm also going to be sharing the recording and blog post with my students at Worsham College in Illinois. And I certainly have always believed that obituaries play an important part in helping families through their grief journey. How do you believe obituaries help in the grieving process from the deceased or for the deceased family and friends? And, I want that message to be particularly for our students who are here today.
Well, the thing about it is, and students don't ever lose sight of what we do. You know, we don't bury the dead. That's somewhat of a byproduct of what we do. We walk with families through a grief journey, and an obituary is a major, major part of them being able to start that grief journey and continue to have it. Now, we all know you don't really get over grief. You kind of learn to live through the valley and out the other end. But, you know, many times I've got my daddy's obituary in my desk drawer, and he died in 1992. But the fact is, something will come up, not really often. I'm not saying it happens every week, but, you know, every couple of years or so, I'll pull that obit out, and that helps me recall the time we celebrated his life and what he did for me growing up. So, you know, an obituary is not just something for the funeral. You post it, you put it in a register book and put it in a drawer. It's a living document for that person. So always remember what we do and the importance of that obituary. And that is the lasting piece of that person's life that families can hang on to and refer back to. So it's a whole lot more than just using an obituary to put on a website for a couple of days until we have a funeral.
Now, for students and anyone new to funeral service that may feel a little bit challenged creatively to write a meaningful obituary, what suggestions do you have to improve their writing skills? That's not necessarily jump into Chat GPT immediately for that.
I would recommend you try to write your own because of the fact you know what story you would want to tell. So I think if you write your own, then you're going to kind of understand what you want the result to be, which will help you understand what questions to ask. Okay, if you were big in athletics in college and, you know, or high school, or you did this in a high school fraternity or college fraternity, well, if that was important to you, then the way for you to get that out of a family you're meeting with is you got to know to ask those questions. They may not think about dad being in ATO in college, but because that was important for your obituary, you're going to need to be the one to do the investigative reporting, so to speak, because you got to understand they're sitting at the table, most of the time emotional. A lot of times they've never even thought about dad's obituary. So you've got to think for them as to what subject matter that they would want in there. So as soon as you ask about, well, what was his first job or what did he do on Friday nights after? Oh, yeah, they always did, but they wouldn't have thought about that. So it's up to us to be the reporter to dig those things out. But the first thing I would do is write your own obituary.
That is great advice. I think yours is probably going to say that you're a collector of friends,
Well,
but
I'll try.
and of course ObituaryShare. But anyways,
Yeah.
that is great, great advice. And definitely go to Arrington Funeral Director's website, read their obituaries for inspiration. And Bob, where can our attendees go to learn more about ObituaryShare and schedule a demo?
Yeah, just go to obituaryshare.com. You'll see a tab that says schedule a demo, and it's about a 15-minute. It's very simplified on purpose. And then to onboard, we also do that. It takes about 15 minutes to get onboarded and get started. So it's a very simple by design process. You can always call me at Arrington Funeral Directors. I can answer any question, and we've got a team in Louisiana that's waiting to help answer any questions. So I would just recommend you try it. Don't try just one obit. Try it for 30 or 60 days. And if it doesn't move the needle, just stop using it. But I can almost guarantee you it's going to move the needle. You'll get more traffic. But yeah, feel free to call me at any time, but obituaryshare.com can give you what information you need.
Thanks, Bob. Let's check in with Maddie and see if any questions have come through on the chat feature.
Well, team, it looks like you left everybody speachless. We don't have any
Oh,
questions
wow.
at the moment.
Oh, wow.
Bob has a
wow.
way of doing that.
Oh, I don't know about that. I can, get down on the funeral director level because I are one, as we say.
Well, Bob, I want to thank you so much for sharing your insights and experiences with us today, your perspective on both the traditional and technology aspects of funeral service are incredibly valuable. And any parting words for our audience, Bob?
No, I just say, always look forward. You got to meet families where they are. We don't need to keep doing what we've been doing, and don't rest on your laurels and say, well, that's just the way we've always done it, or my families don't like that, or my families wouldn't like that. Well, the fact is they would. And if they don't get it from you, they're going to get it from somewhere. So I say meet families where they are. Don't be afraid of technology of any kind, not just ObituaryShare, but let the professionals, your website people, let the Johnson Consulting Group, any of those people that have experts in the field, hire them and let them work. Don't try to do it yourself. Let them work.
Thanks, Bob.
And guys, actually, I spoke too soon. Looks like something just came through. What are some things you would recommend staying away from when creating an obituary, aside from using AI?
Well, that's a family to family situation. We all know we have mixed families. You have sometimes siblings don't get along. And so you just got to be careful. And the best thing you can do in creating an obituary is listen. Don't try to include things that they haven't. Listen. Now you can ask the questions, but be aware because sometimes they don't want things mentioned. Sometimes they do. So the things to stay away from is what may create discord inside the family. Keep your ears wide open.
Very great advice. And then we just got another question come through. Do you boost on other platforms other than FB, Facebook?
Not right. Well, Facebook and Instagram, but we are looking in and have been looking for the last, I don't know, 6 months into LinkedIn. We're trying to figure out how to make that suitable for obituaries. LinkedIn is a little more complicated than Facebook. One, it's more expensive. And two, you've got a little different processes you have to go through. But right now, we're only doing Facebook and Instagram.
Awesome. Well, looks like that's that. Everyone else is just saying thank you. This has been very informative. So great job,
Thank
guys.
you, Bob.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Lacey,
Maddie.
Maddie. Thank y'all so much. Thanks for listening, everybody. Give it a try. Just be bold and give it a try.
That's right. To our attendees, thank you for joining us for this energizing conversation with Bob Arrington. Before we wrap up, I want to invite all of you to save the date for our next Johnson Consulting conversation happening on March the 12th at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll be joined by Suzanne Aker of Aker and Associates, a recruiter with more than 30 years of experience who has helped countless funeral providers across the country secure qualified team members. You won't want to miss her, and hearing her insights on building and maintaining a strong funeral service team. Thank you all for being a part of today's discussion, and we look forward to seeing you at our next event, March the 12th.
Have a great day. Thanks.